To the fellas, if you have a child with a woman out of wedlock, then she runs the show. If you have a child with a woman and you're married, then you can run the show. It is what it is. ...
No, if you do not have to marry a woman to have a say so in your child's life.
Nobody runs the show unless you're doing it by yourself.
The human race is divided in two distinct sexes, male and female. While the typical man is a simple creature, there exists a subgroup, the nice guy, a dying breed of chivalrous, romantic, domesticated gentlemen whose qualities are desired by the opposite sex, allegedly. However, they are dismissed and confined in such concepts as the bestie, work husband, and the dreaded friend zone. Joe, Jason, and Manny are the last of the nice guys.
Hey guys, guess who's back? Welcome to another great episode of The Last of the Nice Guys. I am Joe, and with me is Jason and Manny. And let me just rush this real quick and throw this out there because the topic tonight is a juicy one. I have been absent for about a month or two. Has it been 2 months or a month? It's been a month and a half. Whatever the case is, I've been absent for a very long time. Due to a new career change, and I am in a new state, because we discussed this like many millennia ago in one of the episodes, I forgot which one, and said that I was going to move, which I did. And now I've been here since January 27th, and it's been rough and hard, tiring. I'm getting my ass beat literally 5 days a week, which is causing me to sleep like an old man, but I'm enjoying it. It's very exciting. And the results within the next 6 months will be rewarding because I get to do things that I never could do as a civilian. But moving on from that, tonight
that could be taken in so many ways.
Have you
right?
Have you gone to seek therapy? I know that
the department actually,
or
the department actually has a therapy program for their employees.
for battered spouses, right?
For the mentally unstable and the criminally insane.
I mean, I know. Are you the only man in that course, or what's up?
No, your mom is the only man in that course. How's that?
You know what? I didn't miss you. We actually moved on. Dr. Manny, everybody. You should check out that last episode. Very good. It's a lot of fun. I think we were more creative without Joe. So, anywho, Joe, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
You were definitely. So, what's the what are we talking about? What's the topic?
So tonight's topic is derived from a post that I guess you guys saw because you follow this woman. I don't. And she posted something recently that I would like to read to you guys real quick. And I read it today for the first time, and I have to say, I don't know what to take of this because this woman sounds already crazy to begin with. But it says, and this is what she posted, and I quote, "To the fellas, if you have a child with a woman out of wedlock, then she runs the show. If you have a child with a woman and you're married, then you can run the show. It is what it is. ... I don't know what to put of that except who the fuck created this person? I don't understand. I don't get why that
Obviously
said.
Obviously somebody out of wedlock.
Okay.
Obviously
well, let's break it down. Why don't we just break it down?
Yeah.
It says if you have a child out of wedlock, then the baby mama runs the show. Assuming she makes the decisions, it's her way or the highway. The father has no say in it.
Right.
However, if you're married and you have a child, then the man, if he so chooses to, can run the show when it comes to raising the child and X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z. This is how they've broken it down. So I boil it down to this. Do baby mamas run the show? That's pretty much what it is. If you want to boil it down, do baby mamas run the show? Joe, answer that question. Simple answer, yes or no?
No.
Manny, do baby mamas run the show?
Hell no.
And I want to say no. And I'd say no now. But the early 20s me would say absolutely. So we're gonna get down to this. Let's
like a little bitch.
I was a little bitch back then because I didn't have a backbone. I let that woman run me for the most part when it came to what she considered was right for these for my children.
Honestly, which I take it back, wasn't your fault though. So
no, it was my fault because A, I knew better. B, I shouldn't have felt like I owed her family anything by keeping my mouth shut. And I let certain things happen. I let certain drug diagnoses be placed. I let certain schools be chosen, certain doctors be chosen, paid for certain things that I did not agree upon. I was just told, and I said, okay, kind of a thing. So, Jason now, who has learned a lot, who has become the superior parent, the answer is no. Maybe it was over on the show. And no, if you do not have to marry a woman to have a say so in your child's life. I didn't do even the 20-year-old Jason didn't do that. Didn't marry his kid's mom because he knew better than that. He knew better than that. So no, to the fellas, nothing. You still have power. Most of you guys are gonna have to go to the courts to get your power. That's it, because unfortunately we have no paternal rights unless the court gives it to us. But
that's legal stuff, though. That's
exactly right. But it's the same thing, because what it's saying is if out of wedlock, you have no power. The baby daddy has no power. Whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, you have no power. Joe.
No, I mean, I don't think this makes sense to me. First of all, technically, if anyone's biblical, religious, or goes by the Bible, you're not even supposed to be having a child out of wedlock. Period. And that's the majority of the world. Let's just cut out the world ratio. Let's just say the country. So you're already fucked up as is if you think that's what's supposed to happen. Secondly, people make mistakes, and I'm not saying this because their children are mistakes, but maybe you weren't ready for a child in your point of at your time.
The acceptable vernacular is accidents.
Accidents. Okay.
I call them oopsies.
Yes. Well, our oopsies, the three of our oopsies for us guys weren't oopsies in terms of how much we love them, but they were oopsies because I guess
they weren't planned.
Unplanned.
They weren't unplanned.
There's nothing wrong with saying you didn't intend on being a parent, at least not at the time you became a parent. Right, I don't feel bad about that at all. I did not intend to have two kids at all, let alone two kids with their mother. So
yes, no, of course, and I think all of us would agree with that. All three of us. I never intended to plan that at all.
Yeah, I never intended to be a parent straight out of high school. So
Yeah, which is actually 10 times worse.
Yeah.
But I don't. The three of us guys, again, never planned any of these things, and for that reason alone, I think for this woman to say that, really is kind of messed up, because it doesn't give her the full power or rights of the child or the relationship if that man and woman is still together. It just gives her the leverage that she popped the child, which we cannot do biologically. And out of respect, we are going to make sure that at the time of child's birth, she is good, and of course our child is good. So by manhood and fatherhood, we just automatically know that we're going to go ahead and take care of this child because we love this child, and we're going to make sure the child's good. It doesn't give the woman the right to run the show, because nine times out of 10, a lot of men out there who don't want the child and who knock up a woman end up going ahead and leaving or ditching or becoming deadbeats. And then what? You run the show automatically because the guy's not there.
Yep.
It doesn't give you, you automatically run the show, but it doesn't give you like, it's not brownie points at that point, because the guy doesn't want to be a part of your life or the child's life. You just are by default, you are the breadwinner, you're everything to the child. So you do run the show. But
there's an unpopular, unpopular, but Dave Chappelle said it. I don't know if you guys seen his comedy. It was a comedy special when he said he's pro-choice. Women can do whatever she wants.
Of course.
But it has to go both ways. If a woman can choose to keep or terminate her child, then a man has the right to decide whether he's staying or leaving.
Pretty much. That's true.
Here's the thing. It's insensitive to say, but I kind of agree. Because here it is. You get it in. Now, of course, it takes two to tango. But once conception is done, the guy's out of the equation. If the guy wants the child and the mother doesn't want it, she can get rid of it. If he doesn't want it and she wants to keep it, she'll keep the child. You see what I'm saying? Yes, it's the guy's responsibility. You chose it. But the fact of the matter is, though, we lose all of our autonomy. We lose our decision making after the nut. That's it. We chose to nut, and
that sounds
that's it.
So
it sounds
vulgar, but
it does sound vulgar. But okay, after we choose to climax, okay, that's it. So it kind of works both ways. It's this weird sense of entitlement that women have. This is what comes back to this, is that all of a sudden you have what you said, leverage and the power over the guy because you had his kid. Why? Why do you think that? Why do you think that? Because you carried the child to term, you know what's best, you know better. You just happen to be on the other side of the coin. You just happen to be the female. We just happen to be the male. That doesn't mean you inherently have some kind of natural maternal instincts. You know what I'm saying? And especially these days, some women, they suck up front as mothers.
Yeah.
Some grow into it, some don't. And to sit there and be, and here's the thing though, this whole, she runs the show, it's not about, where in this statement where is the phrase, what's in the best interest of the child? Why is it about running the show? Why is it about power? Why isn't it ever about what is in the best interest of the child? That's my problem with this. What should have been said is, to fellas, if you have a child with a woman out of wedlock, or if you child a woman with wedlock, we both agree to do what is in the best interest of the child. And that is not always what the mother wants to do. Let's be reasonable. When women keep their kids away from the men because the men piss them off, how is that in the best interest of the child? When you're stressing out and running ragged the father because he's not doing what you want him to do the way you want him to do it, how is that a best interest in the of the child? Because I'm telling you right now, yes, men will walk away from kids, but I will bet my last dollar that half of the men that walk away from their kids walk away because the kid's mom is a pain in the ass and it's not worth the headache.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if I was raised, and I'll be very real with you, if I was raised any different, any less stubborn or any less honorable than the way I was raised, the shit that I went through in my 20s, kind of some of it that goes on now, I would have said, screw it, put me on a paycheck, let me get out of here, let me save my life. Unfortunately, I wasn't that kind of guy. But I would look at some of the things that I experienced. I know you guys can attest to this, and say men have walked away from their kids for less.
Yep.
Than what was stressing me out all my life.
Yeah.
Guys, give me some examples. Give me some examples of the women, because Manny didn't marry one of them. Joe didn't marry one, and I didn't marry. So these are out of wedlocks. What? Actually, Manny, you said you had more of an amicable relationship with your original baby mama. So yeah. So I think, maybe you don't have a story to tell, but why don't you go first before we commiserate with me and Joe commiserate with each other? Did she do the show?
See, I've never ran into that situation. Especially with my son. I never had to worry about, whether or not she would push the effort more than anything else. We usually just sat down and commiserated together and just and figured it out, as a co-parenting situation. That's just how it's supposed to be done. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's always been easy.
Right.
There have been some walls that have been hit. I mean, but that's parenting. That's what happens when you deal with two different people with two different ideologies and two different mindsets when it comes to raising children. I'm a super laid back parent, and I feel like I have to be stern when it's necessary. And then you also have to decipher, like, children are children. They're going to be bad. That's just what they do. That's just what they are. And you can't always just lose your mind and be like, and then, okay, I've done my part. What are you going to do about it? Like, no, like I've had issues with, being, having the two different households, and it's just like, oh, well, I'm going to call your dad. And it's like, I'm 2,500 miles away. What exactly do you want me to do at this point? It's like, there's and the older the child gets, it's like, they realize that they're like, oh, don't call dad. And then they're like, okay, you called dad, but then nothing happened.
Yep.
And they realize that. So it just, as far as having that situation and trying to be in control of, like, I understand the concept if you are not in a relationship with the guy and the guy's just like fucking around, want nothing to do with you, fine, you're running the show. But if you guys are either together or in a co-parenting situation, because you don't have to necessarily be married, that whole wedlock shit is bullshit anyways, because there are people that are in relationships and not in a marriage for like 10 plus years, and it works. Some people are just like, marriage is just for showing sake anyways, so there's no reason for even bring that up anyway. So the way I look at it is, nobody runs the show unless you're doing it by yourself, point blank. If you are with somebody or you have the other person there available, you need to co-parent. If you're raising a child by yourself and the father or the mother is just on standby, whatever, at least give them the option. Hey, what school do you think I should bring them to? Oh, you should bring them to school right by my house. Yeah, you live 30 minutes away. That's not happening. But I gave you the option. You like that?
I mean, I agree. Even the illusion of being included in decisions helps more so than just being told where to go, what to do, and how it's going to be.
But the whole thing with, like, I carried the child for 9 months, so basically my decision is the final one. No, it's absolute crap. I believe, because what happens if, you as the person that carried the child for 9 months doesn't want anything to do with the child, or something happens to you, then, like, who makes the decisions at that point? Because you're no longer around. So are you still the person that knows best? Are you still the person that has the final say? Let's just say something crazy happens. You give birth in a jail. The child obviously is not going to stay in the prison. You are. What happens then? Are you going to call and be like, hey, when I get out in 15 years?
That's right.
You better.
No, let's be real. Let's be real. That's about to happen to somebody right now. Gave birth in jail. Father has a kid. Mother comes out and she wants to start running stuff because she's the mother. I am the mother. That means something. My kid's mom told their boys they shouldn't respect me more than her because she gave them life. The joke for a while was I called her life bearer. I'm going to repeat this. She had told my kids once, okay, not too long ago, that they should not respect me more than her. They shouldn't like me more than her because she gave them life. As opposed to, all right, let's assume they like me more, they respect me more. As opposed to identifying this fact and saying, what am I doing as a mother that's making my kids not respect me the same way or like me the same way with their father? You want to lay the law down and say, I gave you life. You should by default respect me, love me, and like me. And that shit is one of the funniest things that I ever heard. because that needs to be
Sounds like
earned.
an entitlement shit. Like
It's a sense of entitlement. It's sense of entitlement.
That's a huge insecurity that they're throwing out there when they have to say something like that, because at no point should you tell your child you need to respect me and love me any more or any less than anybody else. The child should just do it by themselves, and if they don't respect you, you need to look inward. That shouldn't be something that should be asked or forced.
Yep.
Come
Point
on,
blank.
like
Yeah.
What's the?
That's stupid.
It is.
I don't get that. Like that's so immature to the point where like
I never claimed that that the mother of my children was mature.
But
I never claimed that.
It's not just her that says that. I'm sure there's millions of other women that are out there saying stupid shit like that. It's like, I gave you life, so I'm more important.
See, here's the thing, but it runs back to the whole, okay, well, and this is a cliche where the single mom has the kids more often than not, but then the kids are so excited to go see dad for the weekend because with dad it's a party, so they like dad more than mom because dad only is a party. I want to be very clear, everybody, I wasn't that dad. I had my kids 50-50, if not more sometimes. It wasn't one of those situations where
but then you make the mom feel like shit because the kid's like, I don't want to be with you, mom. I'd rather be with dad. But
that's her fault though. That's her fault. I'm not keeping it personal to me, just me. It's the mother's fault. Because if your child doesn't naturally gravitate towards you as their mother, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? If you have to coerce them or you have to guilt them into coming to see you or whatever, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong?
Right.
And most women don't do that. It's the guy's fault. He's brainwashing them. It's the guy's fault. He's whatever. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm saying. Because I'm the mother. I run this. This should be my show. What's really going on?
What makes it even worse that if the shoe was on the other foot, at no point with that other parent that's not feeling that way would be like, oh no, but you should love your dad and you should respect your
absolutely
parent. They would never do that.
No, they wouldn't.
But they want all that attention on them. They're like, oh, why doesn't my child love me? Why don't I get this? Why don't I get that respect? But you know what? Oh, you know what? I don't want to go to dad's house today.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you don't want to go to that motherfucker's house either.
Exactly.
You don't need to see his
exactly.
dad.
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous.
I want to be very clear that in the heyday, okay, back when I had my boys part-time, we had a similar day. Wednesdays was a transition day, and I can't tell you for how long I had to tell my they were younger kids, and I wouldn't have to, but and this is the little respect that I used to give her. I would sit there and wake up and say, guys, listen, remember tomorrow's Wednesday. You need to be nice to your mom. You need to listen to your mom. You need to be nice to your mom. You need to listen to your mom, okay? Because if you guys have a bad time, it's going to reflect over here. I would give them pep talks. I would. Every Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Or and Wednesday morning, just saying, guys, listen, it's Wednesday. You're going back to your mom. And I would say, please be nice to your mom. Please listen to your mom. Please be nice to your mom. Please listen to your mom. Mind you, I hate this woman like the back of my ass, okay? I have forever. You see what I'm saying? But I had the wherewithal to be like, listen, you guys need to respect your mother. You need to find that loving feeling again, for whatever the issues were at the time.
Right.
I'm not saying she's a bad mom. I can't really say that. I don't know. I really haven't been around her being a mom. But what I can say
she's a bad mom, but she's a bad mom.
But she's a bad mom. No. What I can't even make that joke because I haven't really experienced it. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't look at her social media. I don't follow her life. I don't really know what's going on in her life to gauge what kind of mother she is. Okay. I really don't. Not even when we were younger. So she can gauge what kind of father I am because she looks at all my goddamn shit on social media. But anyway, so I can't tell you that. What I can say though, is that she's clearly cultivated an atmosphere or an environment that the boys, our children, don't fancy. They don't, if they had a choice, they would be somewhere else, And so it's supposed
to
be
you.
Cool. I'm trying to be as I don't know what I want to say, but Joe, I want to move to you because you have been in a situation, and probably still are in it now.
Actually, it just happened recently.
Does the baby mama call the shots out of wedlock?
No.
Give me an example.
Maybe back then when my son was fairly. Oh, and by the way, just sorry for the background noise. It's going to be a beep going on. My bad. So anyway, back
Change the battery, dude.
No, it's the stupid dryer for laundry. Back then, I think she had a little bit more leverage than me, only because my dumbass was so anxious to have my kid when he was first born that I tried taking her to court, which I then lost because, you know, you can't take.
That's not a beep. That's a freaking buzzer.
Yeah, I don't think that washer approved or
you know what I
agreed with
find
you.
funny is that he's trying to take her to court, and immediately he said it. It was like, wrong move, buddy. You have chosen poorly. That was right on time.
That was good timing. Back then, like I said, I think that maybe she had more leverage than she does now. But now, no. There it really is no control, considering the fact that he's about to be a teenager, or Dan Worrell is a teenager. On top of that, he literally has voiced his dislike of going there, but in the way where he said, "I'd rather stay and play games with my friends on the computer and talk to them than go over to your house on the weekend."
Yep.
This happened last weekend.
Damn.
So now, mind you, not to try to not to throw some tea onto the
Throw that tea. Come on.
not to throw the tea into the pot even more, but his
What are you doing? How many times is it?
No, I feel like he's playing Operation, but verbally.
No, I feel like it's like
something bad.
His dryer knows he's about to say some funky shit. So it's like saying, it's warning him. It's like, by the way, watch it now.
So it just got done. Okay, shut off. So I will tell you that, not to throw some tea into the pot, but here we go. More so than ever now, my son doesn't want to go there because now the house is a little bit more packed. When I say packed, as in his mother has now a new baby.
Oh, she had the baby.
So now there's two children in there when my son goes there. And it's not that he minds, but he just would rather.
It's not, and the atmosphere, the environment, he just, listen, you see, that's the sad part about it though. And my boys do the exact same thing. They use excuses not to go back. Well, you know, Dad, it's just, and it's funny because the thing is though, like with our kids, and let's be reasonable, they're very well-mannered. They have a conscience, they have feelings, and they don't want to hurt their mother's feelings. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they don't want to say out front, listen, check it out. Kind of don't like hanging out with you, but you know, I'll see you once in a while. Hey, hi. Mm-hmm. They'll look at your time to save face, you know?
Yes.
But they don't have it in them. And that's a testament to how they were raised, you know, that they don't want to hurt their mother's feelings. It's their mother after all. There is a loyalty because it's their mother. They have a loyalty. And so though they don't prefer to be in her presence, they don't want to hurt her feelings either. So they'll limit their time. They'll find excuses. They'll only go over when they're called upon, kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. On their part, it's the mother that needs to say, my kids haven't come home in 3 weeks. Maybe I should ask a question, not, you know, guilt trip them and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, at least try to figure out why he doesn't want to be there instead of saying,
address it and then try
quote unquote, this is what I heard, quote unquote, if he doesn't want to come, I'm not going to force him to come, so he could stay there.
That's the sentiment that my kid's mom said. I think she's like, I'm tired of asking you guys when you're going to come. I'm giving up, kind of thing. I mean, she did it, but stuff like that. Yeah, and that's not the right way to go about it. You should be inquiring as to what am I doing? But here's the thing though. If you have a child with a woman out of wedlock, she runs the show. When she's not running the show, it's an ego thing. So it's not that by itself means it has nothing to do with the well-being of the child. Because if your child is subconsciously, subliminally, or in your face telling you that I don't want to be in your presence for too long, then that's not in the best interest of the child. And furthermore, to make it the best interest of the child, you need to address it.
Right.
And it's not addressed because they think they know best. They run the show. There's no ring on this finger from the father. So I rock it. So I never understood that. Manny.
What?
Are you listening to the conversation?
Yes, I heard everything. I'm just you threw my name into it. Like,
because
what
I want to get your input. Okay, how about this?
I did.
How about this?
I said
if you
it's
have
a
child,
stupid thing to say.
If you have a child with a woman and you're married, then you can run the show. You were married for a very long time.
Listen, I don't believe that either, man. Because
okay, tell us your side of it. Did you run the show when you were married with your daughters?
Never.
With your twin daughters?
No, and they're not twins, but they look like it. I love them, but no, I never ran the show. It was either a compromise. It was either together or it wasn't. Like, that's just basically what it was. I mean,
okay, who made the majority of the decisions between you and your ex-wife?
It depends on how you look at it. Like, I made a decision. That doesn't mean that it was followed. Like, whose decisions
were followed through fruition? How about that?
Obviously hers.
Okay.
You know, like it's one of the situations where it's like, what's your opinion on this? Okay, cool. I'm glad to have your opinion. That was it. It was like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks for asking. You know, whatever. Unfortunately, it just happens that way because women are brought up to believe that they know more than men do. Now, when it comes to certain aspects, obviously, I will go ahead and say so because, you know, can we teach young girls how to be women?
Okay, that's different. Okay, you meant sex. Okay, sex.
No.
But at the same time, then, and the father should be exactly, which is not the case. Sometimes
it's the same thing in boys, but you know, to be in a marriage or relationship and to say like, I know better than you when it comes to either side of the child, whether it be, you know, the boy or the girl or whatever the case is. It's like, listen, you know, there's no perfect way to be a parent, especially with the way society is, the way that how information is brought up and how it's readily available for everybody. I can sit there and say, hey, you don't do that one thing or you'll get hurt. And then they'll watch 20 videos of that another person doing it. They never got hurt. And they're like,
never got hurt. Yeah.
Is my parent lying to me? I'm going to try it the one time. And then the one time they get hurt and you're like, oh shit, you know, whatever. But
right.
That's just a part of, you know, life. That's a part of marriage. I mean, it's crazy to sit there and say, I dictate this. I am the sole dictator. I make all the decisions.
I am the life bearer.
Yeah, like that's the stupidest thing in the world, man. Because listen, without us, you wouldn't have brought the life into this world. You wouldn't have been the incubator because technically that's all you did for 9 months.
Man, the comment section is going to go crazy.
Oh yeah, it's going to run.
Yeah,
but Manny, hold on now. They gestated the baby. They pushed the baby out of their cootie coo. They have the power. No, they did more of the work.
What work? Because you know what they did physically for 9 months, we'll give it that. But within the next few years or the next 18 years of that child's life, it's never going to be equal, and it's never going to equate to whatever was even done before or
and
after.
That's the question I want to ask. At what point does giving birth stop being a factor in who's the better parent
in women's life? It never does.
Exactly.
It never does. They will use that to the day that child dies.
Correct. I brought you into this world. Cool. But at what point does that become a mood? Yes, it's a great foundation that you are the quote unquote life bearer. But just because you push them out doesn't mean that you are automatically the superior parent, the superior the woman. You're the apple of their eye. You can do no wrong. That's not true. These things are still earned. Okay, you are a mother, but to be a mommy has to be earned.
Yeah,
with behavior, with
the other thing that it's a circumstantial situation. Humans were created to be doing this way. So women were created to bear the children. Men cannot. I'm pretty sure there are men out there that would be like, you know what, let me take the bearing off of you, take the load off out, we'll split it in half, whatever. Like, if we had that adaptability to do something like that, would this even still be a factor? Or would it be like a competition, like, oh, I had it for the first 4.5 months, you get the second half, but when you give birth, it's your part. No. But I want
they would turn it into a competition.
Yeah, it would.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's just how humans were just created. We were created as the women to be the bearer of children.
Right.
I'm pretty sure if men were to do this would have never came out, because men don't give a fuck. Like, it's not like, oh, I brought you into the world. Because you know what? Again, without the salt from our seasoning basil, you wouldn't have had nothing to put in the oven anyway. So it doesn't even matter. That whole statement is irrelevant, because you know what? You're not giving birth to stillborn children without the man present.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it happens, and I hate to say that word because I've seen it happen of, whatever, stillbirths or whatever. But I mean, you don't create the child without the man present, without the man there, without the, whatever, the sperm because you're not going to do it without it. So for you to sit there and say, I gave birth to you and I brought life to you, you didn't do that by yourself. Yes, it grew inside you. You went through all of that. You were the oven for that bun. I get that. I understand that. But at the same time, like Jason said, how far are you going to take it? When are we going to get that marker back? When are we going to get that one stroke? Like, you're going to run it the whole life? Like, that's
you'll always have more points than us because you gave birth. And no matter how superior the father may end up being, you are always going to be ahead, because you would never have been a father or a dad had I not given birth. You see how it ends? You're great. I remember my kid's mom telling, I forget what it was. I mean, it was one of the times that they weren't getting along. And she said, I'm glad you guys have such a great relationship with your father. I worked hard to make sure that that happened. And they told me, and I said, she didn't do anything. Actually, she worked hard to get me the fuck out of the picture because of the stress that she was unnecessarily putting me through. Unnecessarily, her and her limited circle of family. And so,
limited circle of family.
Because only a small amount of them gave me a hard time at the beginning. Very small amount of them.
Right.
Very small. So that's why I have to make it very clear that they gave me a hard time, but not all of them. Not all of them. They know who they are. They may not remember,
right,
but they know who they are. So, how can you take that glory away from me? How can you tell my kids that you gave me the opportunity to be a good father? How? Because you had the children? That's what you're trying to say? And that's not the way it works. You can't take away the work that I did to fix myself, to be the father that I am. You can't tell my kids that. I worked hard to give him that opportunity. Why do you think, because you pushed them out of your cootie-coo, you run the show immediately? No matter, even when the father is a decent human being, why would you want to put him in that position where he feels inferior? Why? Because you're not together? Because he didn't put a ring on it? Because he doesn't like you like that? Because he doesn't want to be your friend? These are all things I've heard. He's a good guy. He wants to be there. Wants to do his thing.
My biggest belief is that if men were given the option to co-parent without having to deal with the mess and the stubbornness of the scorned woman, there'd be a lot less fatherless children out there.
Say that again. Say that again. Say it again.
If the option was there for men to co-parent with the children without dealing with the scorned woman, there would be a lot less fatherless children out there. Because
facts.
Most of the men out there.
I want to pause right there. Facts. I need this to be heard.
Yeah, facts. It needs to be heard. It needs to be heard. It needs to be said, because
exactly,
a lot of people out there, like you said earlier in the episode, most of the reasons why, a very high reason why men walk away from their children.
I
from
said I would
women,
bet my entire life savings on this statement.
right? That they walk away because they don't want to deal with the woman, and again, it's I'm not going to say it's 100% of the woman's fault. I'm not going to go blaming fingers or whatever, but at the same time, who in their right mind is going to want to sit there and lose and fight over their sanity 24/7? Sanity, it's a very big thing, and it's I'm very happy that nowadays it's being more discussed and more looked at, because it is a very big thing.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind is very important nowadays.
Is very important. It's very important.
And without it, no one's gonna want to stay around.
Correct. And when a kid, when a baby mama, when a child's mother is making it her business to be extra difficult, extra hurtful to the father, and expects him to take it, and then when he does, if he walks away, oh, it's his fault, you demonize him. I'm sorry. I'm not saying there aren't some shitty guys out there. I'm not saying that at all. But just as many shitty guys there are really shitty women. They're really shitty women. And I don't care who you are, a go-to tactic for most women when they have kids out of wedlock.
That should be our next topic.
What?
There are shitty women.
Oh,
there are shitty women.
We can do that. But what their go-to tactic is what? You're mad, they're mad at you, you can't see your kid.
Yep.
Okay, I don't agree with what you're saying, but because of that, I don't get to see my kid. Well, what does that mean? How does that help the child? They want to hurt you. They want to be hurtful.
There's spitefulness and personal, emotional,
and then when
discretion the guy, against you.
Exactly. And these are things that I have dealt with in the past. Joe, I believe Joe has dealt with it in the past.
Several damn times.
Yeah. You don't want to do X, Y, and Z, or God forbid you have an opinion about X, Y, and Z. You can't see your kid. Wait, what? Why? Because what? What do you mean? And I remember one time she had done this to me years ago, more than a decade ago. And I just got fed up and I just said, fine. I didn't see my kids for, I want to say 2-3 weeks until she called me. Hey, you going to come pick them up? And I said, sure. I just got tired of it. Not to say I would never reach out again, but I was so sick and tired of every time we fought and got into a disagreement. Her go-to thing was, see if you ever see these boys again. How is that helpful? What does that have to do?
How is that mature? How is that mature?
Well, I don't want to get into it because we were younger. We were
not
19,
even to
20,
go
21.
that far. Not even to go that far. The bearing and the weight that you're putting on the children because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not even forsake that, because that's a very big problem, because 99% of these children don't fully understand why mommy's not coming to see them.
Yes.
Why, they don't get it. Because I grew up that way. My father used to lie all the time about, oh, your mom doesn't want to come pick you up this weekend. But all it was is they had a fight and my father was like, fuck you, don't come get your kids this weekend. I dealt with that.
Yep.
And the whole time we're sitting there and he's like, oh, your mom's coming, wait for her. And then we would wait with our bags packed. Mom never showed up. And we're like, damn, like, what was that about?
That's
right.
Off.
But see, this is my father doing this. Okay. So if my father's doing this, okay, you damn sure women are doing this too, because that's the number one threat women have.
Yeah.
No, listen, I'm over that shit. Like whatever, like again, that's nothing that I would do with my kids anyways. But this is the kind of shit my father would pull. This is how my upbringing was.
Mm-hmm.
And to be the person that I am, even though having dealt with that, I've moved on from it. I've let it go. It doesn't bother me.
No, of course.
But that's a perfect example of how the power of whatever parent has over the children or whatever, that's how it's used. And it's fucked up. You don't put that weight on the children. They don't understand why. They don't get it. And I bet you'll never let that other parent sit down and say their piece to that child, because you'll look like the asshole. And that's the problem. You don't want to look bad. You want to look like the savior. Like, oh, I saved you. I did it. No, you're in the wrong too, man. And that's the problem. That's why I don't like this post, this stupid ass girl slapping her face.
Oh, damn.
That shit hits me right here.
I hear that. I hear that.
Woo!
Flat Bush.
That hits me right here.
Utica.
Okay. But no, man. But it's the truth, though. It's the truth, because we have us women, trying to run the show. because we're out of wedlock. Then you got, Manny's story where even in wedlock, he didn't run the show, as much as he tried to or tried to be amicable. Co-parenting, and I use the term co-parenting very loosely. Co-parenting basically is, in my opinion, when the kids are with you, do what you got to do, take care of them, provide for them, and then when the other parent, they provide. If you choose to cooperate, see, in my opinion, co-parenting and cooperation, two different things. I, for a longest time, said, you do you when they're with the boys. When they're with you, we'll agree on certain things like daycare. Well, I'll be told what to do with daycare or some schools, and I'll do what I do. You don't run nothing in my home. I run nothing in your home. Very few times did we cross over and collaborate when the boys were having troubles. But that was my co-parenting, is when they're with me, I'm handling. I got this. When they're with you, you should be handling it. You should get this. And that's what I view. That's the basics of co-parenting. And if you can't have just a bare bones respect for each other just to do that, especially when it comes to the female in the equation, then what are we doing? I know I messed it up because I was playing with my tongue. The equation. Joe, what's up?
No, I mean, I've had situations where my child was used as leverage because she was emotionally damaged by something that I said or did.
Yep.
That was between us two.
He said emotionally damaged.
I'm sorry. That's what it is.
I would have just said hurt. But he said damaged.
No, dude, you know what it is? Because it's like, it gets tiring after a while what one thing I realized lately is that, and this is like the most common cliche thing to say, but women's emotions are so fickle and are so terrible that it becomes a problem for everybody around her. Yeah. Specifically if they have children. And like I told you just a couple of seconds ago, I've had instances where I couldn't see my son when he was a toddler around like 2-3 years old because she was pissed at something that I said to her that pertained to us.
Yep.
Wasn't about him.
So I
never talked bad about him.
Oh yeah.
But it was about herself and I. And it was like,
yeah,
you're really gonna go. And at that time, I didn't really I wasn't wise enough to put two and two together. I would just either curse her out or be immature myself. But
we were there
now. Yeah, but now it's now I literally go ahead and have to be your emotional garbage is really bothering me. At whatever problem you have with your whatever emotional thing you're going on with your other two baby daddies or your work or whatever the case is, has nothing to do with me.
Bro, don't get me started.
Because I just don't like that. I get it. They are much more they're much more targeted as being emotional beings than we are as men. I get it and I understand it, but there's a point. If I know that my woman is very emotional, very sensitive, I would have to sometimes at certain points, because I love her so much, I would go ahead and try to tiptoe my way around certain things that I have to say or do. And if I really don't care, I'll just flat out say it. But then I'll tell her why. But then I'll tell her why I said what I said and explain. Because if you don't have an explanation after you say something, you're looking like an asshole and an aggressive beast. I come off as an aggressive beast sometimes when I'm talking to people, specifically also to women, only because you guys have a point of thinking that if what you say is right, back up your facts as to why you're right. And specific, and also, I just moved my couch. That's how pissed I am.
He just said, he just told women, cite your source.
If you're going to use your child as leverage, for the women out there who probably cannot stand me at this point, I really don't care. But if you can't stand me at this point and you use your children as leverage for the good dad that's in their life to not see
Even
them.
for the dad, period. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he's there.
Like, you're a piece of shit who probably who probably had such a terrible childhood yourself that you
Ooh.
got to go ahead and make your own child your own child have their childhood look like shit.
Perpetuate the cycle. Yep, you're absolutely right.
It's
You're
not
absolutely right.
cool. It's not cool unless the circumstance of what Jay and Manny said earlier, and myself, where the guy is where the father's not there at all. Then that's a reason to be pissed, because the dad's not there supporting the child or seeing the child or even showing up, period. I get that. You should be emotional at that point because that's effed up. But if he's there and he wants to take care of the child and he's trying to be an actual good person.
But it's not good enough for them, Joe. If it's not the way they want it, how they see it on their timetable, it's not good enough. You might as well not even be there then. That's how they look at it.
The other thing about human nature, which is a derogatory thing, and this is a general blanketed statement from everybody. You do the very best of what you don't want to be done that was done to you as a child.
Yes.
And you end up doing it anyway. So it's like you try to protect your child from the stuff that you saw as a child. Mm-hmm. And I don't want my child to see this shit. I don't go through that. And then you end up, it happens anyways. And you're just like, shit, I kind of forced them into that world by not allowing them and talking to them. So, that's the other problem, is that, a lot of these women are just, they see what their mothers have gone through. So
I don't know. I'm getting distracted by whatever the hell he's doing.
But they've seen what their mothers have gone through, and obviously they don't want to have it done to their children, which is, none of us want that, but they go about it the wrong way. They want it done their way, not realizing that it's not always the right way. There is no right way. It's just the way through. That's all you have to deal with, the way through. There's no right. There's definitely wrongs, but it's never going to be perfect. You just got to figure a way through so that everybody on all sides is not only comfortable, but also just understanding of what is going on. And then we can just keep going forward.
I agree. Absolutely agree. We're about to wrap this up. So I want to repeat it to the fellas. If you have a child with a woman out of wedlock, then she runs the show. If you have a child with a woman and you're married, then you can run the show. It is what it is. Is there any merit to this statement, Joe?
No. I think that if you have a child out of wedlock, it's your fucking fault because you decided to open your legs up and sleep with that person. Yeah. That man, I should say, not person. Well, then again, nowadays you got to say person because, of the obvious reasons. But if you chose to go ahead and sleep with that man, and if you're complaining that you should have all the power because it's out of wedlock, then you know what? Tell the man that to their face. Be like, I'm gonna have all the power, and you have no say in anything when it comes to the child. And if you decide to leave, then that's fine. That's cool. But if you want to stay, I still have the power. See what that man says.
I respect that. You know what?
Yeah, you be upfront about it.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut Manny off to answer the question, but I respect that. Be upfront and be like, check it out. I'm having this kid. If you're around, it's what I say. If you're not around, it's what I say. Take it or leave it. But you give the man the opportunity to be like, I'm out without any consequences. I like that. Being straightforward. Look at that. All right, women out of wedlock having kids, be straightforward. You want this to be the truth? Cool. Be willing to accept the fact that the man will say, I'm out without giving him consequences. And I mean, without consequences, I'm talking about no drama, no child support, none of that. You want to run the show, give us the right to walk away so you can run the show. Manny, sorry, wrong show, wrong podcast. Any merit to this statement?
I don't think there's any merit. As a matter of fact, this chick or this individual needs to recheck their values in life because, as the great
she needs to reach out to Dr. Manny. Oh, yeah,
she can do that too.
Synergy.
But as the great Kevin Samuels has said, her mother failed her, because she was brought up very wrong. She was never shown how to be a woman because what is the pure definition of gender roles. If you want to be in charge, then you should be in charge by yourself. Don't ask the man for anything. You know, if you want the man to run shit, then let the man run shit, but tell you how to run shit too, because you want the man to lead, you want to follow. Follow what the man tells you. If you want to have an equal 50-50 kind of deal or whatever, then fine. Figure a way how to deal with it together. Don't sit there and say, oh, because you didn't put a ring on it, I'm gonna make all the rules. That's not how it works, man. Because you know what? You're gonna have 15 children in before that anybody thinks about putting a ring on your finger. You're gonna be in charge of all them kids by yourself. Good luck. Good luck. But as Joe said, be straightforward. If you end up having a one-night stand and you make a stupid decision to have unprotected sex and do absolutely nothing to protect yourself from getting pregnant, you made that choice. So therefore, you need to be open about that choice and be like, hey, I'm an idiot. Okay, you're also the other idiot in this idiotic equation. We're doing something stupid. And if something happens from it, we need to understand how we're going to go further from this. And not be idiots about it, because unfortunately there's going to be another person involved who is not an idiot like we are. And
it's not their fault. It's not their fault at all, but all the consequences will fall upon them. You're absolutely right. That's right. I can't anything other than this statement is false. And that's the most amicable I can be about it. It's false. And yes, to this woman who posted this on Facebook, and to any women or most women who believe this in the back of their head, you're doing a huge disservice to yourself, to your child, and to any potential relationship that your child could have with the father by being this way. You know, I can tell you that when I first became a father, all I asked, and I made it very clear, I want to be left alone. Leave me alone. Let me figure my life out. But leave me alone. And she never respected that, ever respected that. You know, to this day, I was just leave me alone. I'm going to be great with my kids. I don't need you around. Leave me alone. Never respected that. And, you know, and it's true, because like what Joe said about how, you know, these women sometimes procreate with more than one man, and they visit the sins or the anger of the other man onto you. It happened to me. I was in this fake, weird ex-couples counseling, and she was like, you know, between you and my husband. And I said, hold on now. Between me and who? I don't give you any problems. I don't text you. I don't call you. I don't bother you. How am I a problem? And this is real honest. And I was flabbergasted that she had the nerve to lump me in with her husband, saying that we both give her problems. And I looked at her and I said, I don't talk to you. How do I give you problems? I don't, literally. I don't wake up. I don't look at her social media. I don't talk to her. I don't call her. I don't text her. Nothing. But I give you problems, and you can compare me to your husband who's giving you alleged problems. You know, maybe you're the problem.
Yep.
That's all I have to say. So with that being said, this is the end of our episode. Welcome back, Joe, as our glorious host. Hopefully he'll be back next week. Who knows? So that's it for Last of the Nice Guys podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Manny.
And thank you for your time.
The Last of the Nice Guys. Follow, like, and subscribe on Twitter and Instagram at Last Nice Guys, Facebook.com/Last Nice Guys, or email lastoftheniceguys@yahoo.com.